What the hell is up, everybody? Louis back here again for another exciting weekend of fights. UFC 278. Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, taking on Leon Rocky Edwards for the welterweight strap at 170 pounds. Can't wait, man. Kamaru Usman looking to make history. Leon Edwards looking to get some respect. And then in the co-main at 185, you got Paulo Costa taking on Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold coming off a 3-year-long layoff. And Paulo Costa trying to stay relevant. Luke Rockhold trying to make a run at the title. We'll see what happens. And then in the feature bout at 135 pounds men's bantamweight, you got some more madness. You got Jose Aldo, the King of Rio, taking on Merab, the Machine, DVALISHVILI. I mean, you know, bantamweight just keeps going. So we got some more developments there. You also got Alexander Romanov, King Kong on the card. So let's get into it real quick. And a quick recap last weekend. I did bad again. No excuses. Like 7 underdogs hit. I was really high on Lupe Godinez, and she did not wrestle. And, you know, it was one of them cards. Freaking Tyson Nam got a win with that right hand. He knocked out O'Day Osborne. So, do I need to continue? You know, it was one of those cards, but it was an awesome card. Very good card, and then Dominic Cruz couldn't pull through. So it is what it is, but let's get into it. We got a great card here. First fight of the night, 125 pounds, men's flyweight. You got Daniel Da Silva taking on Victor Altamirano. Da Silva, he took on Francisco Figueiredo his last fight, who's also on the card. The first round, he just bounces in and out of range, but he eats some leg kicks. But then he landed a leg kick and then a 1-2, but he eats a body kick, but he gets a double into full guard. He's able to step over the armbar attempt, but then he gets knee barred by Figgy, little Figgy. So, you know, weird one. But before that, he took on Jeff Molina. In the first round, he lands some front kicks. He shoots a double off of his leg kick, but then he's able to get to his back standing. But he gets in the backpack position, but he slides off when he tries the arm bar, and he gets reversed from there. And then later on, he eats some ground and pound from full guard, tries the arm bar again, not successful. And then in the second round, he gets pressed, he throws a front kick, but then he gets dropped with the right cross, and then just gets TKO'd from back mount. Molina just pounced on him, and, you know, Silva just didn't have it for the rest of the fight. So it is what it is. Victor Altamirano took on Carlos Hernandez his last fight. In the first round, he rushes with some straight shots into a clinch. Then he presses with some step-in jabs from range. Then he eats a counter hook, but he's able to slip a lot of them. Doesn't take a lot of damage. And then he lands a head kick from range. He rushes with the 1-2, and then he gets taken down with the body lock from there. Just a little too eager. And then in the second round, he's able to cut off the cage with a body kick and a jab, and then goes to the clinch. Then he eats a knee while he's dipping his head, and then he eats some hooks, but then he's able to slip the hook, and he lands a hook to the body of his own. But then he rips the body, and he throws straight to the body. But he eats some combos whenever they're in the inside. And then in the third round, his clinch is reversed on the fence, but he's able to defend the body lock with the overhook, and then he lands some straights against the fence there. But then he gets pressured, and he eats some hooks on the inside, but he's able to counter, start landing some leg kicks of his own, and then he ducks the hooks, and he's able to get the clinch to the fence. But then he eats a combination when he's just kind of standing at range with his guard down. Then he lands a left cross, and then a kick to the body whenever he gets pressed. So really semi-competitive fight there. Victor minus 165, Daniel Da Silva plus 140. I'm going to go with Victor here because Daniel Da Silva seems like a first-round type of guy to me, first-rounder bust. And Victor Altamirano might not hit the hardest, but seems like he has consistent pressure. You know, Daniel might get that first takedown, but I think if Victor can just kind of survive and not get choked out, I think he has a shot. And, you know, he's not the greatest at taking backs. Jeff Molina let him off. I know Molina's better, but still, you know, just when these first-rounder bust guys, this line plus 140 isn't good enough for me. So I'm just going to go with Victor Altamirano. We'll see what happens. First fight of the night, you know. Second fight of the night at bantamweight, 135 pounds, you got AORI Lang taking on PERRIN. Hope I said his name right. In the first round, AORI, he lands some step-in hooks, but he slips the hooks and he defends the body lock. He's able to reverse the position with the wizard kick. Really nice stuff from him, showing some more wrinkles to his game on the ground. Then he lands a left uppercut to the body and then a right hook to the head. Then he lands a step-in left hook and he's able to drop him. Starts landing some massive ground and pound, really tees off on him. And then he's able to get the back mount, ground and pound TKO, baby. So, and then a quick note, AORI, he fought at 125 before this. This is his this was his first fight at 135, and he looked good, man. So that a little nervous about weight changes, but I think it served him well. He got a lot more energy, a lot more power. And then PERRIN took on Mario Batista his last fight. In the first round, he eats a jump knee whenever he's clinching. Then he enters with the body kick and a straight shot, but he eats a 1-2 standing at range. Then he gets clinched and taken down with a knee tap, but then he gets right back up, like seeing that, gets to the fence. But then he eats a jab counter whenever he's entering. When he's kind of just rushing him with hooks, leaving himself open a little bit. And then the second round, he eats a jump knee, and he's not able to convert to finish on the single leg. But then he gets a double off the fence, but he's not able to hold him down. And then he gets clinched and eats some knees. Then in the third round, he presses with some hooks, but he's missing most of them, maybe clipping them a little bit. But then he gets his back taken when they're in the clinch. Then he eats some elbows, and he gives up his back from there. But then he's able to reverse for a second, but then he gets out pummeled and gets taken out the double leg off the fence there. So decent showing for each guy. PERRIN plus 115, AORI Lang minus 135. Tougher one here. PERRIN fought better competition, Mario Batista. And AORI Lang, before this, he took on Cody Durden, and I thought he hung in there. I thought it was a tough fight. I thought he did get outworked by Durden, but he looked good. And then in this last fight, I mean, he just shows off his power. I don't think he's a first-rounder bust guy. He might run the risk of gassing himself out early, but I think he can carry it over 3 rounds. And PERRIN just kind of comes in a little loose and just kind of gets pushed around a little bit, in my opinion. And I think AORI's going to be able to get on the inside and land some big shots on him, hopefully through 3 rounds. We'll see. But, you know, the line's not too big. So my pick here is AORI Lang. See if he can get it done. Maybe a knockout. Who knows? I don't know, though. So, third fight of the night, 125 pounds again. Men's flyweight again. The little guys are going after it. We've got ALBAZI taking on Francisco Figueiredo, little Figgy. ALBAZI took on Zaga Sumagulov his last fight. This was a while ago, January 2021, I believe. First round, he stalks and pumps some jabs, but then he eats some hooks. But he's able to get the blast double off the fence later on, and then he's able to cut off the cage, lands a right cross standing at range, but then he walks into a double leg at the end. But we're talking like right at the end of the round, so no big deal. Then in the second round, he lands some leg kicks at range. He pumps his jabs. He's able to cut off the cage again. Then he lands an uppercut, and he's able to stop Zalgas' double toward the end of the round. Then in the third round, he lands a jump knee to a clinch. He's able to get the single, then he's able to take his back, puts in a nice rear naked choke attempt there, really making him work. And then toward the end of the fight, he just kind of circles and evades for the last minute. Don't love to see that, but he was up and he knew what it was. So, okay, and then Figgy, he took on Daniel da Silva his last fight, and then yeah, basically gets taken down, armbar attempt, and then he goes for the knee bar when he steps over. But then before that, he took on Malcolm X Gordon. In the first round, he gets clinched to the fence, and then he gets taken down with the single, but he's able to roll through, steps over, gets on top into full guard, lands some ground and pound, goes for an ankle lock with like a minute left to go, 50 seconds, and then he gets reversed. Dumb decision, you know. Then in the second round, he gets pressed and he eats some jabs, but he moves his head, slips the shots, he's able to circle, and then he stuffs a double against the fence. Then he reacts to a double, like goes to defend it, then he just eats some hooks there, really nice fake. Then he's able to slip the hooks and he starts pumping jabs and he lands some straights and then needed a body against the fence, but then he gets taken down with the body lock trip toward the end of the round. Then in the third round, he gets his leg kicked off balance whenever he's going for a jump knee. He sits on his butt. And then he's able to get to the fence and wall walk, and he almost takes his back, but can't quite get it. But then another exchange, he's able to get the outside trip and then body lock position, and he tries to go for the arm bar from mount, but then he gets reversed, but then he's able to get another trip takedown in the fight. So decent top position there, but you know, he lost to Malcolm Gordon, but he was competitive, just made some bad decisions in my opinion. But you take a look at the line, Figgy plus 370, ALBAZI minus 460. Yeah, dude, I don't really feel confident either way, to be honest, but Amir is coming off a bit of layoff here. And then Francisco, you know, he can get them quick submissions, maybe in the first round. You know, I just think that price is outrageous. I'm going to go with Figgy here. I think ALBAZI's probably the better fighter. But, I mean, for this price, I'm not going to bet minus 460 on ALBAZI. So, kind of is what it is at that point. But, you know, Francisco, I think he can get something going in the grappling, get a takedown or something. Second and third rounds, maybe seal it in a close fight, who knows. But you want to go the whole fight under 2.5 rounds, plus 115. Flyweights go under. I like that one. But Francisco Figueiredo. First fight on the regular prelims, 170 pounds. You got AJ Fletcher taking on LOOSA. Fletcher took on Matt Semmelsberger's last fight, UFC debut, I believe short notice. In the first round, he gets a blast double whenever he gets pressed, but he pulls the guillotine, but he's able to roll through and it gets to the top, and he's able to get into half guard, so he just doesn't just sell out for the submission. He actually uses it to advance position. I like seeing that. And then he tries another guillotine, but then he gets in a full mount from there. Some ground and pound, not much. Then the second round, he eats some jabs at range. He gets a blast double from space. He gets around his back, but he can't hold him down. Semmelsberger's pretty tough. Then he lands a left uppercut and then a right cross up on the feet. Then he gets a single gets around his back whenever they're in like a pocket exchange, but then he slides off, but he's able to get into, and then Semmelsberger takes full guard and does some ground and pound, kind of steals around from there, unfortunately. Then in the third round, he heats a straight right, and then he gets tie plumbed, but then he's able to get the double from there. Not a good move from Semmelsberger, but he's not able to hold him down at this point. Then he gets doubled off of his jab, but then he eats some ground and pound, but then he's able to get to his knees, and he drives through to his own double, but he's not able to hold him down, and then they both kind of just swing big at the end there, kind of just sell out on the feet, which was a pretty entertaining fight, and, you know, Fletcher was competitive, but Semmelsberger got the victory. Then Angel Loosa took on Monero Azez, his last fight. In the first round, he lands a step-in, hook to the body. He eats some jabs, and he throws some overhands, but they're a little too short, can't get the target. But then he's able to defend the blast double. I like seeing that. And then in the second round, he lands a double to a treetop, brings the leg all the way up, but he can't quite finish it. Kind of gets punched when he's holding it there. Then he eats some jabs and a right cross at range. Then he lands a cross on the inside, but then he eats some jabs, and he gets clinched all the way to the fence, and kind of wearing down a little bit. And then in the third round, he lands a step in, dip, right cross, but he gets kept on the outside from there, and has a little trouble getting inside. Then he walks into a straight shot and some jabs, but then he lands a long overhand at range, and then he lands a left hook to the body and then a right cross to the face. Then he lands a left hook inside the pocket, but then he gets countered with some hooks, and then he gets rocked with the hook flurry at the end. Good showing from him, but, you know, just couldn't really find the target a lot of times, and he swings big, you know. Angel Loosa plus 140, AJ Fletcher minus 165. Tough one here. Angel Loosa has the capability to knock him out, I guess. I haven't seen crazy power from him, though. He loads up a lot, and you know if he hits, he's going to hurt him. But, I don't know. I just think AJ Fletcher's wrestling is going to be a bit of a problem. I think Loosa will be able to defend decently, but I think Fletcher will be able to work it eventually. If not, he'll be able to get the clinch. Fletcher's not too bad on his feet himself, and he'll have a full camp this time. And I'd kind of favor the wrestler here. You know, Angel Loosa hasn't shown me anything crazy on the feet yet, so you know I might be wrong on this one, but the line's not too bad. My pick here is AJ Fletcher. I'm gonna trust his wrestling. Okay. Then we got the next fight on the prelims, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. This one's a low-key banger. Both of these guys are on win streaks, and they're trying to work their way up the rankings here. You got Sean, the Sniper Woodson, taking on Luis Saldana. Should be a fun one. Woodson took on Colin England his last fight. In the first round, he lands some 1-2s and front kicks from range, but he gets pressed in the pocket with the overhand and a hook, but then he gets pressured, and he's back with his back skirting along the fence, just kind of circles, and then he gets clinched, but he's able to reverse with underhooks. Nice pummeling ability. But then he lands some step-in jabs, lands a 1-2, and then rips the body. And then he lands some uppercuts to the body and gets the KO. So, you know, just gets in there, and you know, he's able to keep range, but then whenever they're fighting in the pocket, he can land some power when he needs to. So really good victory from him. And then Luis Saldana took on Bruno Souza his last fight. In the first round, he circles on the outside, pumps some leg kicks, but he slips the hooks, but he's able to get the double, gets around his back, but he can't hold him down for very long. Then he gets pressed, but he lands some hook, and he gets the double off of that. Then in the second round, he's able to slip the hook, and he gets able to get around the back this time. And then he eats a left hook when they're standing at range, but he lands a body kick, but then he eats some hooks in return. Then in the third round, he lands some jabs, but he eats the overhand off of his jab. Then he gets cut off on the cage, and he eats some straight shots from there. He's able to slip some punches, and he lands some straight rights. Then he eats a right hook, and then he gets clinched to the fence toward the end of the fight. So decent showing. Luis Saldana plus 280, Sean Woodson minus 340. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I guess Sean Woodson, I've gone back and forth on him. I've lost on him. I've won on him. So, I don't know. I think Sean Woodson's going to be able to keep the range. I think his pace, he'll be able to outpace Saldana. I think Saldana is going to try to crack him hard, and Woodson's going to be able to keep moving. But, you know, Woodson can get cracked, but I think his chin's okay. And then if they get in the pocket, I think he'll be able to find an uppercut or rip to the body. I really like seeing the body shots, and then, you know, throw some kicks in there. I think Sean Woodson can get it done. This is just one you're going to have to lay the chalk on, I think. But if Saldana wins, I wouldn't be super surprised. But Lord help me. Sean Woodson, baby. Let's go. Okay, and then the co-main event of the prelims at 155 pounds, men's lightweight, you got Leonardo Santos taking on Jared Flash Gordon. This should be a fun one. You know, both guys needing a win here, but should be some violence, I think. Some violence. Santos took on Clay Guida his last fight. In the first round, he stalks, lands some leg kicks, and then a front kick to the body, and then some hooks, and an uppercut flurry against the fence. Really has him hurt there. And he's able to stuff the single leg and lands some hard hammer fists on Clay. And then he gets the tie plum, lands a knee to the head, drops Clay again. But then Clay is able to like clinch and regain himself. And then toward the end, he gets pressed with some hooks and he gets taken down with a double leg. And then second round, he's extremely gassed. And then he gets body locked and mat returned, and he gives up his back, gets submitted with a rear naked choke by Clay Guida. So, you know, Clay Guida is a tough motherfucker. And Santos just emptied a gas tank, and he's also 42 years old. So, you know, tough one for him. And then Jared Gordon took on Grant Dawson his last fight. In the first round, he presses forward with the 1-2. Then he lands a step-in body shot, gets the body lock trip takedown, and then uses the guillotine to roll through and complete the double leg. Then he lands an overhand off of a step-in elbow by Dawson. But then he gets blast doubled, and he gets his back taken, put in a body triangle, and then eats some ground and pound from there. So tough one for him. Gordon's a pretty good wrestler, but Dawson was able to get the back control and was a little more relentless on the takedowns. Then in the second round, he lands some hooks on the inside, but then he walks into the single leg, and he gives up the body triangle again. He's able to get out of there, gets the lock to one side and busts out of there and stands right up. I like seeing that. You don't see that too often, guys getting out of there. And then he lands an elbow in the clinch, but then he gives up the double leg again, and then he gets taken down with the single. So, sorry, he gives up double underhooks, and then he gets taken down with the single there, just getting a little too comfortable moving into Dawson, you know. And then in the third round, he's able to stop the shot, but he eats a right hook inside the pocket. Then he lands uppercut and some short shots, and whenever they're inside the pocket, and then he's able to stuff another takedown from Dawson. Then he's able to get underhooks and stop the double leg of Dawson. Then he pulls the guillotine off of the single. Bad move, doesn't get it, but he's able to get back to the feet, and then he eats some straight shots in the pocket though, and he tries to hook the ankle with the crotch. He's in like a crotch lock when Dawson shoots. He tries to step around and go for the ankle, but Dawson's able to lift the leg and then take Jared's back, and then he just gets submitted with a rear naked choke with like 45 seconds left. So it's a tough one for him, but you know, Gordon was able to stop the takedowns later on in the fight and land some shots. But you know, I think he just wasn't as aware of the takedown threat, or maybe didn't respect him as much. Who knows? And I just gave him his back too easily, in my opinion. But Jared Gordon minus 265, and Leonardo Santos plus 225. Now, this one is Santos is definitely a first-rounder bust guy. Jared Gordon, I think he'll be able to take him down and wear him out. He might get cracked with something in the first round, but Jared's a pretty tough guy. I think his chin will hold up. You know, Santos is going to get it done. He's going to probably knock him out in the first round. I mean, Santos is a black belt, but I think Gordon's going to be able to keep solid technique, and I don't think he's going to let him get caught in anything from the bottom. So I like Jared Gordon here. Price is a little steep, but I mean, besides this, he's been on a win streak, beat Joe Solecki, who I was really high on. So I like him here. Minus 265, a little high, but you want to go Jared Gordon by decision, plus 120. That's a good bet. Jared Flash Gordon. The main event of the prelims, 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. Should be a banger. You got two big boys going at it. Marcin Tybura taking on Alexander King Kong Romanov. Romanov's got something to prove, and Tybura needs to stay relevant. So it's a big matchup for both guys. I think must win, you know. But Tybura took on Alexander Volkov his last fight in October. In the first round, he clinches to the fence, but he eats a 1-2, and he shoots, but he gets pancaked by Volkov and just kind of gets beaten up a little bit on the ground. Then in the second round, his single attempt gets stuffed, and he eats a knee, but then he dips and he lands some hooks in the pocket, but then he eats another knee from Volkov, but his single gets stuffed, and he eats a front kick, but then he lands overhand to the clinch, but he's not able to finish the single leg. Volkov showing some decent wrestling defense this fight. Then in the third round, he gets a clinch with keeps the right underhook and gets his head underneath his chin. Then he eats a left uppercut when he's standing at range, and he gives up the underhook. And he gets his back taken while he's standing, and then he eats some uppercuts and hooks whenever they're trading in the pocket. Not a very eventful fight. Tybura tried like hell to take him down, couldn't do it, so it is what it is. And then Alexander Romanov took on Chase Sherman his last fight. Chase Sherman was on short notice, but, you know, in the first round, he gets a blast double off the fence almost immediately. Then he mat returns him with a suplex over his head, gets into half guard, and he passes into full mount, ground and pound, and then a submission with an Americano. You know, mix it up a little bit, beat the shit out of him, tap him out. And, you know, Alexander, he looked a lot more shredded this fight. So, Romanov minus 350, TYBURA plus 290. You know, Alexander kind of worried me with in the Juan Espino fight. Juan Espino was like able to slow him down a little bit later on in the rounds, and then he was actually able to, I believe, lat drop him or get a sort of body lock trip, and you know, get on top of Romanov for a little bit. I think Romanov learned a lot from that. He slimmed down. He looks good. I don't think he's playing any games. I think he's going for a double. I think he's going to go for some ground and pound / submission, and then Marcin TYBURA, you know. Not a great stand-up guy. Got pieced up by Greg Hardy. Got pieced up by Volkov. You know, he's not going to be able to take Alex down. Maybe Alex might get tired later on in the fight if it goes that far, but I think it's going to be an early night for Alex here. I don't know what to say, man. I'm really high on Romanov and TYBURA. Getting a little old, and you know, he's taking his damage. I'm going to go with Alexander Romanov. And I'm going to go finish at all by plus 100. Last time I bet him by TKO, and he got a submission. So just straight up finish plus 100 compared to 350. Not bad, but let's go King Kong, baby. Okay. The first fight of the main card of the pay-per-view, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. You got Tyson Pedro taking on Harry HUNSUCKER. Harry HUNSUCKER dropping down from heavyweight. Shouldn't be on the main card, but, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully we see a knockout. Pedro took on Ike Villanueva his last fight. In the first round, he stalks, he circles, lands some leg kicks, and then he goes to a body kick. He lands a 1-2 against the fence, lands some leg kicks against the fence, and then he slides back out of range of the hooks from Ike, and then he drops him with the leg kick. Whenever Ike comes forward, Ike is sitting down, has his back against the fence, big uppercut, knocks him the fuck out, you know. And he was off for 2 years before that, so... You know, looked really good. Then Harry HUNSUCKER, he took on Justin Tafa his last fight at heavyweight. In the first round, he gets dropped with the overhand left off of his leg kick, and he gives up his back standing, and he tries the Kimura, but he gets taken down. But he's able to get to his feet relatively quickly, so that's good at least. But then he lands a left hook as Tafa lands a right. But then his shot gets stuffed, and he gets KO'd with the head kick. Kind of out of nowhere, but it is what it is, dude. Wild, but I don't think Justin Tafa is very good. Justin Tafa missed weight for heavyweight that fight, so. But Harry HUNSUCKER plus 530, Pedro minus 730. The price is absolutely ridiculous, but I bet against Pedro against Villanueva for the hell of it, and it didn't work out for me, so I'm not going to make that mistake again. You want to go Tyson Pedro by sub because knockout's too high. Plus 275, not a bad thing to sprinkle on, but the whole fight to go over 1.5, plus 270, not bad, you know. Or you can just take Pedro straight up. It is what it is. But Tyson Pedro, I think we see an early night. But hopefully not too early. Hopefully over 1.5. But Pedro's the pick. Okay. Second fight on the main card at 135 pounds, women's bantamweight. You got YANAN taking on Lucy PUDILOVA. YANAN took on Mara Buena Silva her last fight. In the first round, she landed some step-in straights and kicks, but they're just a little too short. Kind of clip her, but not really. And then she gets dropped to the left hook against the fence. Then she eats some leg kicks at range. And then she gets hit with a jab and a hook, and then eats a knee to the body. So, and then in the second round, she lands some jabs whenever she gets pressed, and then she eats a head kick when she's backing out of range of the pocket, and then she's able to catch the head kick, but then she gets taken down. Sorry, she gets the takedown, but she's able to escape the triangle position, but she just gets a little too scared, doesn't want anything to do with her on the ground. And then Silva uses the underhook to get up, and then YANAN just kind of gets clinched. And, you know, like I said, YANAN a little startled from the triangle attempt. It wasn't super deep, but, you know. So we saw Silva have submission on the ground, though. Then in the third round, she drops her with a teep kick, kind of, not really. But then she lands a 1-2 at range. She lands some straights to the body, but then she eats a right cross whenever she's circling out. And then she eats a 1-2 at range. And, you know, YANAN just really couldn't get it going there. And, you know, Silva has that steady pace and stalks forward, and she got it done. So, and then Lucy PUDILOVA, she took on Caroline Yarwick her last fight. This was outside the UFC. She was in the UFC, went to another organization for about 4 or 5 fights, and now she's back. So, in the first round, she circles outside, pumps jabs. She jabs in overhand, and then she jabs and then lands a right hook, and then she lands an overhand right, and then a left hook, and then she continues the circle. Then in the second round, she just kind of pumps jabs. Not much happens. And in the third round, she just pumps some jabs, and then she gets a double leg at the end. So, yeah, not much really happened. Kind of boring, to be honest with you. Lucy Podilova minus 120, YANAN plus 100. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the underdog here. It's a low-level women's fight. I have Podilova, hasn't fought in the UFC in a long time. Her last fight, she did lose to Justine Kitch, I believe. So, I don't know. I think YANAN might be able to make it dirty, make it ugly, get on the inside, and land some hooks, body shots. Maybe get a takedown here and there, who knows. But she's an underdog, so I'm going to go with YANAN. Alright, the feature fight of the night, the certified banger, keep the bantamweight train rolling, 135 pounds. Jose, the King of Rio, Aldo taking on Rob the Machine DVALISHVILI. I hope I said that right. Anyway, Jose Aldo took on Rob Font his last fight in a 5-round fight. This one's only 3 though. And first round he gets pressed with some jabs when he's coming in, then he gets taken down with a single, but he's able to get up, gives up his back standing, but he's able to just hang out there and break the lock and doesn't get mat returned. And then he's at range, he keeps a high guard and he backs out of range whenever Font goes to throw. Then he lands a left uppercut to the body, and then he's able to drop him with the 1-2 right down the pipe at range, lands some ground and pound to end the round. You know, was getting beat up pretty bad, to be honest, and then bam, bam, Jose Aldo's back. Then in the second round, he rocks him with a jab and then a right cross at range, and he eats some jabs at range while he's just kind of standing there. Then he eats a right cross, but he's able to return with the overhand. Then he eats a 1-2 from range. But then he lands a step in, hook to the body. Again, we've got a fight on our hands. Then in the third round, he pumps the leg kicks at range. He stuffs the shot, and he pancakes him, and he gets on top into half guard. Some ground and pound, not much. But then he eats a jab to the body, and then a hook at range. But then he eats a jab, but then he drops him with the leg kick at the end of the third round. And 2 more rounds, and then he does even better in the 4th and 5th round. But it's only a 3-round fight, so I'm looking at that, and you know, he looks pretty good. Gave up the first. No, I think he could have won the first round possibly, but you know, just took him a little while to get going basically. And then Merab took on Marlon Moraes his last fight, one of the craziest fights you'll ever see. In the first round, he bounces at range, he gets pushed back with a leg kick and a jab. Then he rushes with some straights and he eats a jab, but he's able to get the double off of Moraes' kick, but he's not able to hold him down much. Moraes kind of has like semi-guillotine, and he's able to get up. And then he eats a left hook off of a missed uppercut by him, and then he rushes forward with the 1-2, and then he gets rocked with the left hook, and then he gets dropped with another left hook whenever he's retreating, but then he eats a flurry and an uppercut, but he's able to get the clinch on the fence, clinches for dear life, and then he's able to take him down the back trip. Then he's able to get into full guard, just lands some hammer fists, almost has Marlon Moraes out. So pretty crazy. Then in the second round, he lands a right cross to a double into full guard, ground and pound, elbows, and then he's able to defend Marlon Moraes' double, which is funny. And then he gets on his back, gets some ground and pound, grabs the wrist, and more ground and pound, gets a TKO victory, man. And Merab doesn't finish anybody. So it was wild. He did get hurt a lot, but his chin is made out of metal because he's a machine. Merab is minus 140. Jose Aldo is plus 120. I've been going back and forth. Honestly, I was just going to take the dog on this fight. Jose Aldo happens to be that dog, but I also think he can win. I think the first round might be tough for him. Or I don't know. One of the rounds is going to be hard for him. I think Merab's going to take him down eventually. I'm thinking it might be in the first round. But then as the fight goes on, Jose is going to be able to start stuffing some of the takedowns, and Merab doesn't get tired, but Merab gets reckless, and he gets desperate for them takedowns, and maybe Jose even gets around his back, who knows. But I think Jose is going to be able to hit him with some shots. I see him using body shots, maybe not so many leg kicks because he doesn't want to get taken down. But I just, you know, if Merab's not able to get those takedowns, he's not going to be able to compete with Jose on the feet. That's kind of the narrative of the fight. And, you know, Jose's looking really good. He's on a roll. He dismantled Rob Font before. Cheeto dismantled him, so I like him. My pick here is Jose Aldo. I think he can get it done, man. Let's see it. But the fight's going to be awesome either way. The co-main event of the night, 185 pounds men's middleweight. You got Paulo Alborachina, or the Eraser Costa, taking on Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold coming after a 3-year-long layoff, and I think it's been probably close to 4 years since he's made 185. His last fight was at 205. So, but Paulo Costa took on Marvin Vettori at 205, coincidentally, because he couldn't make weight. But then in the first, you know, now this isn't a fight I did too much research into. The basic narrative is Luke's coming off a 3-year-long layoff, and Paulo Costa hits like a truck, and Luke's taking a lot of damage. But I'm just going to go over a couple things. And first, I just, you know, look at the first round of the Vettori fight. He lands some leg kicks to range, and he stumbles off the body. Whenever he throws a body kick, just kind of stumbles backward and falls down, which is weird. But then when he gets up, eats a flurry by Marvin. Then he eats a jab in the pocket, but he lands a straight right in the pocket. Then he lands a straight right to the body. And then he misses the right cross, and then he eats a straight combination from Marvin. But then he keeps the high guard, but then he just kind of sits back and eats the flurry. But he has the guard, but still some of them are getting through. and then he lands a body kick, and then a straight right to the body, but then he eats a jab from Marvin. So, but he looked pretty good. Looked like he was gassing, but actually his cardio held up all 5 rounds. Pretty much, you know, considering he had to go up to 205. But then Luke Rockhold took on Jan Blachowicz, his last fight at 205 about 3 years ago. In the first round, he lands some body and head kicks. Then he shoots a double to the fence. Then he gets to the body lock and he pulls him down, but he can't hold him down, can't keep him down. But Jan's kind of like on one knee, but he's just doing that so he doesn't get knee in the face. And then he tries to go for the guillotine, kinda. Then he gets back in on a single leg, but he's not able to get it. He goes back to the clinch, but then he eats some elbows from Jan with Jan's back against the fence. And then he grazes him with a left head kick, but not clean at all. Then he misses the head kick, eats a straight right, and then he gets rocked with the left hook in the pocket right at the end of the round. Like, Jan almost finished him there. Then in the second round, he lands a front kick to the jab, but then he eats a left hook when he's coming in, and then he eats some leg kicks from Jan at range. And then he takes the single to the body lock, but then they're in a clinch, and Jan's able to break out of the clinch and lands a monstrous left hook right on the break, knocks him out cold. So, tough one for him, but yeah, man. Luke's chin, we don't know. It's a big question, but it's been 3 years. But Luke Rockhold plus 285, Paulo Costa minus 345. Just out of sheer principle, I got to go with Paulo Costa because you got people that are coming back after long layoffs. You look at Nick Diaz, didn't go well for him. And then you even look at Joanna Jędrzejczyk, coming off of a couple years long layoff. Just doesn't really go well, unfortunately, you know? So that's kind of just the rule, I think. And I haven't seen somebody come off super long layoff and get the victory over like the number 2 or number 3 in the division. So kind of sucks, but you know, I think Paulo's probably going to knock him out at some point. And KO for Paulo minus 150, not a bad bet. Over under on rounds, it's like minus 115 either way, so I don't think it's the greatest bet. But my pick here is Paulo Costa. Don't look too much into it. You know, just kind of go with the trend. All right, on to the main event of the evening. My favorite fighter, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, taking on Leon Rocky Edwards for the strap. Edwards coming off a year layoff. He last beat Nate Diaz, and he's been waiting for a title shot ever since. And then Kamaru coming off a victory over Colby Covington in November. Hand surgery, but he's back here, man. 2 title defenses within 1 year. Let's look into it. Usman took on Colby Covington his last fight. In the first round, he stalks at range. He's able to duck the hook. Then he eats some short lefts when he's coming in, but then he's able to slip the hook to Covington. Then he gets the double whenever he gets blitzed, but he can't hold him down for very long, a couple seconds. Then he misses the straight right, but he clips him with the left hook at the end. Then in the second round, he blocks the head kick, and then he's able to land a left hook, and then he gets a double, and he's able to pummel out of the clinch position. And then in the third, he gets double underhooks and he's able to pummel out of the clinch. And, you know, Edwards kind of likes to do that, but Kamaru's really strong there. He was kind of muscling Colby around a little bit, actually. And then he throws the uppercut, and then he drops him with the check left hook. And then Covington gets up, drops him with another check left hook. He drops him twice in the second round. So, pretty big round for Usman. Then in the third round, he eats a 1-2 off of the jab, and then he fakes the shot, lands an overhand left on Colby. Then he lands a left hook off the clinch break, and then a 1-2. But then he eats some hooks whenever they're on the inside, but he's able to land a nice 1-2, but then he eats a straight left on the inside. And, you know, Colby's starting to come alive in these later rounds. Then in the fourth round, he presses the jabs and eats some overhands on the inside, though. But then he eats an uppercut and some hooks off of his jab. But he rips some straights to the body, and then he lands a right hook. And then he lands a lead left hook whenever he gets pressed on the inside. And he eats a body kick, but he's able to land some shots in the pocket exchange. They're kind of just thrown a little bit sloppy. Then he eats an elbow in the clinch, however. But then he gets wobbled with the left hook over his straight shot at the end. But, you know, Kamaru played it off right at the end of the round, and Kamaru was like, I'm fine, you know, because he's Kamaru. Then in the fifth round, he lands a left hook to the body and then a jab to the face. Then he lands a straight right, but he eats uppercut by Covington. But then he gets clinched, and he's able to keep the overhook. And then he's able to get the underhooks and break out of the clinch. Very strong. And then right at the end, lands a head kick at range. Wasn't devastating, but it landed. So, you know, pretty close fight. But Kamaru beat the number 2 guy 170 2 times. So, you know, you can't say anything. And then Leon Edwards took on Nate Diaz his last fight. This was last June. In the first round, he lands some leg kicks at range, but he eats some hooks at range, and he circles out. Then he lands gets the body lock dragged down. He's able to take his back, gets the hooks in, but then he gets back on the feet, and he lands a counter right hook, and then a leg kick. Sorry, second round. he's able to land a counter right hook and then a leg kick, and then he eats a straight right, but then he gets clinched and he gets the clinch and he level changes and he gets around his back. He's kind of dips his head under his armpit and he pulls him down on the ground into a full guard. Not too much damage though on the ground, but then he eats a lunge overhand from mate kind of unexpectedly, and then he uses the underhook to reverse the clinch position and end the round strong. Then in the third round, he lands a left cross off of Nate's side kick. Then he lands some leg kicks and he circles. He's able to duck the jab, but then he gets clinched. But you know, he kind of accepts it, to be honest. So then he's able to dip the jab. Then he gets his own clinch. And then he gets the body lock and he takes his back and he drags him down. And then he lands some nasty elbows from half guard, splits Nate open. And then he gets around the back off of Nate's jab. Then in the fourth round, he lands a left hook counter from him, and then he lands another leg kick, and then he lands a left cross whenever he gets pressed forward, and then he lands a step-in foot sweep off of Nate's kick, but he doesn't do anything with it, and Nate pops right back up. Then he eats a left cross at range whenever he gets clinched, though, but then he lands an elbow in the pocket exchange, so, you know, Edwards, really nasty elbows, apparently. Then in the fifth round, he lands a short left in the clinch, then he eats a left cross off of his jab, and then he gets clinched, but then he lands a left hook, and then an uppercut, and then another left hook, right in a row, like really fast. Pretty impressive, honestly. But then at the end of the fight, there's like a minute 20 left. He gets rocked with a left cross off of his right hook, and then he just kind of circles, skirts the fence, tries to evade, tries to clinch with him. But, you know, Nate got him, and he eats another one too at the end there. So, you know, lost the fifth round, man. Gave it up and got rocked by Nate Diaz. So, pretty interesting. But you look at the line, Leon Edwards is plus 190, Kamaru is minus 350. Is the line a little high? I don't think so. Kamaru is a money machine. He's never lost in the UFC. And minus 350 sounds right. Leon hasn't fought in a year, and he was off even before that because of COVID, but still he was off. And he fought Bilal Muhammad, who he didn't beat. There's no contest because of an eye poke. And then he beat Nate Diaz in 5 rounds, but I don't think he destroyed him like everybody says he does. And he got rocked really bad by Nate Diaz. But Kamaru Usman has beaten Colby Covington, he's beat Jorge Masvidal twice, and he's beat Gilbert Burns. So, you know, but besides that, like technique-wise, I think Usman has the better power. Sure, Leon might be a little faster in the striking, might be a little cleaner, but Usman has that wrestling. He can pull out if he needs to. I understand he doesn't wrestle too much these days, but he has it. And I think he might be able to get a takedown or two if he needs it. And Usman, you know, he's going to be able to pummel out those clinches too. I think there'll be a lot of clinch battles. But, you know, Leon just doesn't have that power, not a finisher. So, I just like Usman, man. I just don't really see a reason to bet Leon, to be honest. And I don't like the layoff on top of all that. So, and he hasn't really beaten any top guys. So, but we'll see, man. Should be a great fight. Can't wait for it. But if you want to go Kamaru by KO plus 240, not terrible. And the whole round the whole fight under 4.5 rounds plus 130. I don't hate that either, because I hope some action happens. But anyway, let's go Kamaru minus 350. Not the worst price tag. All right, everyone. Thanks for riding with me. I appreciate it. I know I've been sucking, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna get through this, and I'm gonna win this week. It is what it is. I can feel it, you know. But check the description, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Leave a message. I'll get back to you. Let me know some things. I definitely need some tips. If you guys got any secret parlays, let me know. We'll discuss. I'm always happy to talk. But let's see some upsets. Let's see some violence. And let's see some profits. Good luck, everyone. Win some money.